There are wartime relics that tell stories, and then there are the ones that, well, whisper survival secrets. In 2022, a frozen bunker was uncovered high in the Alps, sealed under layers of ice and time. Inside, historians found something that, honestly, stunned even military archivists. A complete survival kit belonging to what was once known only in rumours as the Phantom Regiment. An unregistered Alpine unit that operated in extreme conditions during World War II. What was inside wasn't just a collection of relics. It was a perfectly preserved blueprint for human endurance in sub-zero wilderness. Every item was designed with a precision that, modern survivalists would instantly recognize and, in many ways, envy. This discovery isn't just history, it's a survival manual written in frost and grit. And the more we study it, the clearer it becomes. The lessons from this lost kit still apply today for anyone who wants to understand real resilience, not the kind sold in shiny packaging. The so-called Phantom Regiment operated beyond supply lines, conducting reconnaissance missions in whiteout conditions where even carrier pigeons couldn't return. Their records vanished after 1944, but the survival kit tells us everything about how they endured. Inside the bunker were oilcloth packs sealed with animal fat, preventing moisture from seeping in. Inside those were layers of preserved essentials: charred tinder, ration tins, sealed wax paper matches, and a small paraffin stove. But the most remarkable find wasn't a tool or a weapon. It was the ingenuity behind how everything worked together. Unlike the bulky government-issued survival boxes used by most units, this one was modular and field-adaptable. It was built for stealth, for endurance, and for men who had to survive without ever lighting a fire visible from the air. That design philosophy, self-sufficiency without exposure, has become a cornerstone for modern bushcraft training. When the bunker thawed and the contents were tested, almost every single item still functioned. Even the fuel for the small paraffin stove burned cleanly after 80 years. What made the Phantom Regiment kit so efficient wasn't abundance. It was intention. Every tool solved more than one problem. The paraffin stove, for instance, could boil water, thaw snow boots, and be inverted to warm a trench. The wax-sealed match tins were packed inside old wool socks, not as storage padding, but because the wool would serve as tinder or insulation if one layer of clothing froze. Their mess tins were coated with soot, making them less reflective and doubling as heat absorbers when placed in direct sun. This minimalist practicality carries a critical message for anyone preparing modern survival kits. Redundancy is waste, but versatility is power. Instead of packing 10 tools, carry 3 that perform 10 tasks. Even their rations followed that rather ingenious logic. Dried barley soaked in whale oil created both nutrition and internal heat. It's quite fascinating, really. A trick modern endurance athletes replicate with high-fat energy blends. Now, if you were to replicate this kit today, you'd combine a small alcohol stove wool socks for dual insulation and a lidded tin coated in black paint to trap heat faster in winter sunlight. These aren't museum pieces, mind you. They're principles that still outperform many modern systems when your life depends on reliability, not branding. What truly set this regiment apart was how they managed warmth. When temperatures dropped below -20 degrees Celsius, they used an interlocking trench shelter system made from canvas tubes and snow blocks. Each soldier carried a single folded panel. When assembled, these connected into a tunnel that trapped body heat. The paraffin stoves would be placed at the ends, allowing air to circulate without creating visible smoke columns. Quite a remarkable feat, wouldn't you say? In less than 40 minutes, they could actually create a microclimate inside the snow. To test the technique, modern reenactors built one of these so-called thermal burrows using replica materials. Inside, temperatures rose from -15 degrees Celsius to +4 degrees, and that was without any firelight, powered only by the heat from 2 stoves and, 6 men. For survivalists today, this design is, a direct answer to one of the deadliest Arctic mistakes: overexposure. Rather than trying to fight the cold with more and more gear, these soldiers worked with it, cleverly using the insulation properties of snow to their advantage. A practical modern equivalent might be, say, snow trenches lined with emergency blankets and low-profile tea-light stoves. This isn't primitive at all. It's tactical thermodynamics, the very same principle the Phantom Regiment mastered under conditions that would have, frankly, frozen lesser units solid. Another often overlooked secret inside that bunker was the regiment's approach to preservation. They didn't just rely on canned food, no. Instead, they stored dehydrated vegetables and barley in animal fat-sealed pouches, which prevented oxidation. This allowed their bodies to stay fueled without freezing their supplies solid. They even carried a rudimentary electrolyte mixture: salt scraped from dried fish skins mixed with melted snow. Rather ingenious, really. That kept them from succumbing to hypothermia faster than other Alpine units who relied solely on rations. Modern preppers and long-term campers could, take a direct page from this method. Rather than relying on commercial freeze-dried meals, sealing food in natural fats or wax barriers remains honestly one of the best ways to prevent spoilage in the field. A simple replication would be melting beeswax and using it to coat dry goods stored in cloth bags. This keeps moisture out while extending shelf life without chemicals or refrigeration. The Phantom Regiment's survival kit is, more than a historical artifact. It's a philosophy of preparedness. Its builders understood that the environment isn't the enemy. It's an equation to solve. Their gear worked because it respected the rules of nature. Retain heat, conserve energy, and carry only what matters. 80 years later, those rules haven't changed. In every paraffin stove and wool sock, there's a lesson modern survivalists should really relearn. Simplicity outlasts sophistication. If you ever find yourself facing cold, isolation, or scarcity, the Phantom Regiment's ghostly wisdom still speaks. Prepare less gear, but know it better. To learn more about forgotten survival innovations and the soldiers who shaped them, stay with Relic Logic. Subscribe, share this with fellow history enthusiasts, and keep the memory of true resilience alive. Because the greatest survival tool isn't in the kit, it's in the mind that built it.